What's up, folks? Are we surviving the Arctic Armageddon of 2026, especially us Texans? uh, Everyone in the United States, whoever tunes in, who still tunes in, who's never quit tuning in, across the globe, believe it or not, no matter what you think of this and what I do, it may be only 2%, but at one point I was in about 50 something countries. And again, I didn't say how many people. For those of you that didn't know I had this is coming up on season 6. Yes, I'm still doing this. Yes, I'm going to continue to do this. No, I'm not going to say when I'm going to have it to the next level. No, I'm not going to say when or if I'm ever doing this among everything else that is in alignment with my purpose for a living. You can call it what you want, and I'll call it what I want. So for anyone that didn't know that I've been doing this, coming up on season 6 in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I was doing a lot more in the past, not doing as much now, but let me assure you, I've lost no desire. If you know me, I don't like to use motivation. That's the word. Motivation's bullshit. From exercising, discipline, to going to work, to eating right, to whatever it is. Motivation, no one's motivated every day. Hell, I'm not motivated every day. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline above motivation. Consistent discipline. Yeah, I'll keep doing this. Again, you hear a lot of things, and if you've listened to my podcast and any of my videos over the years, it doesn't matter if it impacts one person. It's whether it's 1,000 or 1 or 10. It's no less impactful if it does what it is supposed to do. It impacts and makes a difference in one person's life and offends a fucking 1,000. Oh, fucking well. When you tell the truth, you live through accountability. You live a disciplined life, and you hold yourself accountable first. It's going to be offensive. I almost think that discipline and accountability and grit, resilience, being relentless, being a savage, all those things, I think, have become the new cancel culture. I said this some years back in a podcast. I think it's became the new unwritten rules that are against the law. They haven't made them against the law, but I think that in the time we live in, that it's kind of like those unwritten rules, those other unwritten rules that our generation knows, that some of them you kind of get and other ones are just made up old wives' tales, old bullshit passed down one generation to another. It's kind of like, I feel it because of how I live my life, just in my daily life. Again, you don't have to attack anyone. You don't have to target anyone. And that's the only time you should feel attacked. If it's specifically directed at you, and you know specifically what it is. If it's not just, so when you say this, well, I knew what you meant, or what you insinuated, or what do you mean? Like anything, you're telling on yourself. Shut the fuck up. Unless it is directly targeted at you specifically, then you shouldn't feel offended. We feel more offended by our political group. We feel more offended by people that tell the truth, people that live through action and accountability. We seem to be more, in my opinion, in my perspective, we seem to be more offended by the shit that we're worried about collectively as Americans, as human beings, is a shit we seem like we can have a say-so over. The shit that we worry about the most, I feel like there's the shit that we shouldn't be worrying about. Not all of it, but a large majority of it. And the shit that we should be worried about, we seem to not give a fuck. We seem to not worry about working ourselves in the ground, having way too much debt, living above our means, what we consume, that we do nothing but consume, that we're not taking care of our physical and mental health. We seem to care about everything that we think we can control. We think we can control how people think, their political parties, their religion. We seem to be more concerned about keeping up with the Joneses, living above our means, judging people by what race they are, by their income, class, their social class, by what house they live in, by what car they drive, by what they do for a living, their salary, their credit rating. We seem to be more concerned about judging someone's. We don't go by character. Let me say that again. We don't go by character. We're going to decide, even after years of knowing someone, even if you can't, that's another thing. Even if we can't identify them as a friend, and there's a lot of times, what is everyone called on Facebook? Friends? Not just 2026. This has been me for a while. It needs to be every year going forward for the rest of our life. We need to start being real careful about who we call friends and fam and brothers and sisters. We need to be real careful about that. I think we need to come up with a new classification for some of those. And this goes both ways. We're concerned about how we look. We're concerned about how we look to others. We're concerned what people think of us. We're concerned if we get in the club. Again, yes, we're concerned if we get accepted. We're concerned if we're liked. We're concerned if we're popular. We're concerned the same thing with our children and our family. We're concerned if we get to be part of the fraternity and club. We're concerned how we look on social media. We're not so concerned about how we really feel. We're not so concerned about people's character. When we say we don't go by certain things, I don't judge people by that. That's exactly what most people fucking do. Are we really out there going by people's character? Are we really getting to know them? Do we want to get to know them? In some cases, I don't really want to get to know a lot of people. But at the same time, if you know me, I don't go by anything that of someone I can connect with, vibe with, network with, have a good time with, have some kind of friendship. And again, there's different categories of friends by their race, by their religion. Again, I'm not religious. So let me back up real quick. I'm going to put this on social media too. Anybody who's a friend or an acquaintance, or we've known each other for any amount of time, we might have known each other in the past, growing up, went to school together, grew up in the same community. Maybe we still call each other friends. We've known each other for maybe 30 or 40 years, but we haven't spent time together, whatever level of that. I want to make this clear, and I'm not going to dive deep into this. Please don't talk to me through scripture. Please don't preach at me. I don't even trust people who have scripture in their profile. That's a narcissistic trait. Again, religion, not your faith. I'll get into that. I've been wanting to talk about that anyway. Again, I try to stay away from religion and politics. Don't talk to me preaching at me. Don't talk to me through scripture. There's a lot of things that people don't understand that are linked together. Kind of like when somebody gives you the exception to the rule on anything, like we're talking, when people can't talk about generalization, what is the masses, what is the statistics, the overall percentage, and they'll give you that one fucking person. Well, my grandfather lived to be 90 and did this. That's one fucking person. Maybe you might know 3 or 4 or whatever it is in your lifetime. Man, that's a sign of ignorance and low intelligence. Again, ignorance, intelligence, not to be confused with education, whether it be self-education or school education. Again, ignorance. In today's times, with what we have at a touch of a hand, it's a choice to be ignorant. We consume. But again, like I'm getting back to, I don't want to know anybody's sexual preference to start with. I don't need to know what they do for a living unless they offer that. Definitely don't need to know what anybody makes. Again, unless it's people that you work together with that do a similar job or task. Collectively, y'all do the same thing, maybe within the same company, organization. Sometimes you need to know those things. Y'all get what I'm saying? You'll find out where you stand compared to others, and no, it's not always work ethic. It's not always experience and skills and all of that. Anyway, separate issue. I don't need to know anybody's where they live. I don't need to know what they drive. Those things don't fucking matter. There's some other things that matter with your character. Again, not getting in detail about that today. I mean, we could say morals and standards, but everybody's morals and standards are different. I have my sunglasses on. Anyway, we have an Arctic blast, Armageddon. It has sucked for a few days, but it's super fucking, I guess people that ski and spend time in that region, and I've only been in those areas and didn't ski like 2 times in my whole life because I don't want a fucking vacation there. Some of these places are beautiful. Yes, they are. I don't want, that's not a fucking vacation to me. It never will be. Do I want to go visit some of them places because they're on my list and to say I've done it in my lifetime and have that memory as an experience? Yes, I do. But let me get back to it again. If it's, okay, we live in Texas. If it's go to Colorado, beautiful place. We're not talking about springtime and summer. That's when I need to visit. Canada, the Northwest. We can talk about Boston. We can talk about Maine. We talk about Wyoming. Beautiful places. A lot of beautiful places. I don't need to go in the winter. There ain't nothing for me to do there. I don't want to be in. I'm probably never gonna. This one of the things. A lot of things I was gonna get off my list. I never did. Like I know that maybe if I'd learned how to wakeboard and how to what do you call it? Not ski, but snowboard. It's one of those things. Yeah, I'm fit. Yeah, I'm in decent shape for my age and for a lot of people younger. But it's one of those things is younger people go with the natural movement. It's hard to pick up on certain things after a certain age, after age 40 or 50. There's things I didn't get off my list. But then again, there's other important things on my list. Do I ever see myself vacationing? I was talking about this a while back. People were sending me some pictures of different places, Wyoming, Canada, Colorado, beautiful places. Not going in the fucking winter. Somebody asked me, would you ever go there? Yeah, if I'm caught up on like 5 tropical vacations or getaways, and I'm not right now. So no, again, each to their own. I don't need to know any of these things to call someone a friend eventually. Sometimes, here's the thing, sometimes we vibe with people and connect with them more than people that we've known our entire life and people we're related to. And sometimes I think we sabotage it because we feel like, this is crazy, think about this. We feel like when we connect with someone new or later in life, that it's cheating on our old friends or the people we grew up with. Not saying that old friends or ex-classmates, ex-teammates, community, ex-coworkers can't be all of those things. But sometimes a lot of times I think we force those relationships. We feel obligated in some kind of way that they need to be those people. The same way we do our fucking family. Same mentality. Not my family, not my kids, not my church, not my community, not my hometown, not my parents, not my siblings, not my grandparents. Hear me say it again. We all fucking say that. We shouldn't. We think that we hate, again, this is why people have a problem with people like me. We don't target anyone. We just speak. You feel like it applies. You tell on yourselves by your body language, how you react, your eyes, by the things you say or don't say. We hate when it's our people. We hate when it applies to our people. But we can't preach anything when we don't hold ourselves and our people accountable first. But what we do, I know people that do this. They hold them behind closed doors. Now, Blue Moon, it's been hitting the spot lately. And a glass inside with orange. Not driving, not going anywhere. Left earlier, like 1.2 miles to mother-in-law's house to take her some eggs. Walked over to the only shit store we have in town. Walked over there because I didn't want to drive. It's got a little hill on it. Since I went to her house to bring her some eggs and she couldn't find any. She is over 70 years old. She don't need to leave. She hasn't been feeling well. I would have brought her other stuff if she would have needed it. But again, not trying to be a good Samaritan, a good son-in-law. Not that I'm a bad one, but the thing is I figured that there's someone else in the house and they're okay as well. And that was all she said she needed. If it was more, I would have got it. So I'm walking over to the store and get a few things. Drove back home 1.2 miles, not leaving. say if you argue with your spouse or your kids or whatever age or your significant other, whatever it is, that not everyone should see that. It depends on what environment you're in. If you work together, and let's say you have family that works together and you have other people, and the rules are obviously not applying to someone in your family that applies to everyone else. The thing is sometimes, okay, there's different situations. If you're just in a social environment, yeah, don't do that shit in front of people. I've done it, and it makes other people uncomfortable. Different life, different phase of life, different person, and with all due respect. But when we're talking about say it's in a work establishment or some kind of setting like that, or like like if you're a student in school or you work in any kind of business where there's family members. Okay, this applies to, you can't reprimand someone else verbally in front of other people. If you let's say I'm the employer and I have a kid or a niece or nephew working for me, and I'm not verbally mean or disrespectful to anybody, but here's the thing, I will correct someone else or have a problem with something they do, but I won't do it to them. And then I say, well, I did it behind closed doors. No, you need to do it where everybody can see it, the way everybody knows you're doing it. That's how I see things. This is how that you actually live and practice what you preach about. Oh, if it's my family or my kids, I hold them to the same accountability. No, you fucking don't. You know, most of you don't. Again, you'd have to know me to know that I live this. And see, this is a problem. When you live what you say. Now, a lot of families, especially men I know, say, I cut my kid less slack. I'm harder on them. My grandkids, whatever. Yeah, I say some of that too. Yeah. And here's the thing. But here's what some of y'all do. Yeah, you're harder on them and hold them more accountable privately. And y'all, okay, like this is a good example. I've told a couple people this. You have to put up with more bullshit than other people do because you have different benefits than other people do. And if it's your parents, your aunt and uncle, your grandparents, your siblings, they fucking know that too. They dish more out and you take more because you have a different arrangement than everyone else does. Doesn't mean you do better work. Doesn't mean you do more work. Doesn't mean you're more dependable. Doesn't mean you're more reliable. Doesn't mean your character's better. Doesn't mean your resume's better. Doesn't mean any of that's better. It means I'm going to give you extra benefits. No one needs to know about it, so I expect more of you. Now, getting back to this. So in Texas, we can't handle cold weather. Don't want it. Sucks. It's part of life. We need it. It's a reset sometimes. It's an excuse to stay in. Now, when other cold states and cold regions say, we don't even close schools or roads down or grocery stores or anything for that. Again, a lot of these cold states I've never been to. I need to visit again, spring or summer. I know some people that live in these regions and they can't because they're closed down. If they did that, they'd be closed, what, half the year? Nobody would be able to make a living. You wouldn't be able to have whatever we call a normal life. Again, I'm assuming, I mean, I know some people there, Boston. I know some people in Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, things like that. Just people I haven't seen. Kansas City. We know how it is. I know a couple of people in Canada. That's their normal life. Just like the heat's a normal life here. Again, I'll pick a 105 degree day over a fucking 15 degree day anytime. There's some problems with heat, yes, but it's not the same problems with cold weather. 2 or 3 days of this will shut us down. Now, I wanted to get this. I had a few other things I wanted to touch base on, but I wanted to get to this. Talk about what we do in the fucking grocery stores anytime that there's a, hold on a second. Let me trade these. I forgot. A second. Struggling. Had the glasses on. It's so fucking bright. Now I'm struggling to see. All right, that's better. May not be better for you. It's better for me. We do it every time. If you're on any of my social media pages, especially Facebook, you see what I post. Do I not? I ended up going to the store on one of those days, and you'd have to know. Again, not saying I'm the exception to the rule. I am the exception to the rule on some things, since some of y'all like to use that. Because according to most of you, your children, grandkids, look, nothing, the love for if you have grandchildren like I do, that love is different, man. So there's things, yeah, that we're going to be partial to, we're going to be biased to, we're going to take up for them. But what we do is when our kids and grandkids start changing to adults, we still have the mindset that they're still children, and they're not. It's not the same deal. It's not the same deal if they live at home. It's not the same deal if they move back home. It's not the same deal if they pull some of the bullshit that we'll fucking criticize, chastise, and ready to fucking lynch someone for. We start finding excuses. We always focus on the good. That's another thing. I've talked about this a while back. I don't see people really saying, I care if people have good character, if they're good people. Again, everyone has a different version of that. I hear people talk about people's jobs, their salary, their career, where they went to school, where they live, what they drive, how good they look, what kind of good athletes they are. I don't think, is this something y'all thought about? I don't think that we genuinely care if people are good people. But again, a nice man, a nice person doesn't mean they're a good man or a good person. A harmless man is not a good man. Go listen to Dr. Jordan Peterson once again on that. We see what we do in the stores, cleaning out the shelves, panicking. We do it every fucking time. I posted this the other day. So I went to the store. I'm not saying I don't go to the store any other day, but Fridays are my day. No, I can't buy in bulk. Some things. But then again, even though we have young adult children in the house, young adults, excuse me, they are our children together as a family, but we raise them together, but they're not children anymore. They are young adults. They live in the house. They are getting things together to start their life. The plan is not for them to stay with us, but they're not being pushed out. But there are things like that they eat different than us. So guess what? We're not buying separate food for them. They are young adults. Only been out of high school a couple of years, but nonetheless, they are young adults. That is their problem. Anything we do after them for 18, we're not obligated to do. Now, I hear a lot of people who have privileges, a lot of advantages, and maybe you did something right and maybe you didn't. Maybe you just inherited it. Maybe you just plugged right in. Maybe you just had to show up. Maybe it was given to you. Again, privileges are invisible to those who have them. You'll give your kids, let them skip all the major steps of starting points in life. If I had it, let me assure you, I still wouldn't do it. Would I do some things different? Sure. The advantages they get here is you need to get 3 to 6 months worth of what bills you would have. We've already been over what their estimated cost would be. I insist on you not leaving the house till you have at least 6 months. And if there's something else you want to do it while you're here. This is not just an open-end date that just goes on. Like if we make it for a 2 or 3 year target, it can't just be 10. We have to talk about that. And I don't think they're doing that. Again, see what we do is we'll say, not my kids. They're not that way. They do this. You notice you speak to people or talk to people about anything, whatever it is. And most of the time, majority of the time, they'll say, well, no, I didn't raise them that way. I don't do that. We don't put up with that. It's mostly bullshit. In some cases, it might be true, but just because you raise them a certain way, I know that for a fact. I know that to the nth. I know that to the most extreme. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. You take a better chance that they will pick up those values and they will implement those values and standards in their life. But then they're going to start their life, and their standards are not our standards. Grown children that don't leave home, if they don't leave home till way later, and usually if it's after 30, they never leave. Statistics, go look it up. They're usually strange. They usually have morphed into the adults, the parents or whoever they lived with. If they leave and come back and they've lived on their own, whether it's a struggle or not, people that like their privacy and like their independence, they usually don't want to move back in with their parents, step parents, whatever. Again, just The elders, they don't. See, here's the thing. If they wouldn't have left, they wouldn't have noticed what that freedom living on their own is like. I can say this, for living on my own very young, even though most of the time it was a struggle, it's difficult for me to stay with anybody because I've lived on my own so long. I don't want to. People have their own way, but it can't just be you're here, and even at like 19 or 20, you're still a young adult. You're barely starting your life, but you don't have the same arrangement that you did at 11 or 12. You don't even have the same arrangement you did at 16 or 17. Shit changes. You're not getting thrown out. You're not getting pushed out. You want to eat different food, buy it. Your car insurance, your car repairs, any of that stuff, you're responsible. It doesn't matter if we have it. It matters just because you have it doesn't mean you should do it. Again, it's different. People need help. Even at our age, you need help. The thing is, the time to take care of a lot of things that's the reason you don't have to pay mortgage and rent and utilities, because that will end. It'll end even if you live here. You have to put those things together. Hey, we're not making you a separate meal. If it's something that you like to eat and we made it, go ahead. We're family. Let's go for anybody. We're not going out of our way for you, because the rest of the world doesn't go out of their way for you. Some of you keep doing it, and you call it love, and you do might love them, no doubt. But there's a fine line between that and enabling. For what we see every freeze, it could be a hurricane at the coast, because I spend a reasonable amount of time down there, and we'll have the effects all the way here. People, look, well, what did we do during COVID? We talk about the toilet paper and the paper towels. Man, if I want to survive, if I need to survive the fucking apocalypse, first thing I'm thinking, not worrying about cleaning out, is a fucking toilet paper. I'll wipe my ass with anything I can. Start cutting up clothes, using socks, whatever. Look, I may not be a fucking marksman or a fucking avid hunter or know very much about guns, but I do know survival, and I know what priorities are, and I know when shit hits the fan, what's going to be important. It's going to be eating and water. Use the bathroom anywhere if you have to. We don't think it's really going to get that bad, though, with anything. The reason I said it sarcastically, Arctic Armageddon, what the fuck are we doing? Do we ever ask ourselves, just in life in general, what the fuck are we doing in this life? With anything. Everybody claims they ain't doing it. You're seeing people clean off shelves. And then, and here's the thing, look, it's still going to be cold and freezing for an extended amount of time, which might affect people's work, affects mine a little bit, affects getting to the store. I don't want to fucking go nowhere. I don't want to even take that little bit of risk. For what? But stockpiling shit. We're greedy people. We're self-absorbed. We don't know the difference between a need versus a want. We've confused luxuries with necessities. That's what we've done. We think first world problems are, here's the thing, they are real problems. Sometimes I see myself still on a daily basis worrying about this shit, and I go, the overall picture, the overall goal, and the overall fucking scheme of life, this shit don't even matter. And I know worrying about it ain't gonna matter. And the thing is I'm taking action on it. I used to beat myself understanding procrastination. If I'm bitching about it, or I'm complaining, or I'm worrying about it, what am I doing to change it? Unless it's out of my control. No matter how much we preach this, we're only human. We're only human. But the thing is the things that we can control, we fuck it up. We can't control how much debt we have. We can't control living above our means. We can't control our health to a certain extent. We can't control our fitness. We can control who stays in our life. We can control who we allow in our lives, and they allow us in ours. We can control our social class, our circle, our clique. I don't have one anymore, and I'm okay with that. We can't control our thoughts always, but we can control who has power over us. We can control that shit, but we don't. Here's why. This is some of the reason. Some of you won't get this. You've heard me talk about planning. Like me, I plan difficulty in my life with my training. And I'm not even, this is the thing, a 40% rule. This is Navy SEALs talk about this a lot, and Rangers and stuff. Although I've never been one. You know how I live my life. I've lived my life like this for a long time, but you know I didn't just start this overnight. I've kind of always been this person, but the last 10 years or so is more so than ever. It will never change. This is why. When you don't plan natural conflict and difficulties in your life by choice, you're subjected to everything. You invite chaos and drama. There's a point in life I did it. I didn't even know I was doing it. You invite. I see people say positive vibes only, which is bullshit. It's like I only want to be around positive people. I said this many times, yes. To most of this society, anything they don't want to hear is negative, and anything that they want to hear, doesn't matter if they need to hear it, is positive. It doesn't matter how much truth you address and how much truth you talk about and speak. They'll deem it as negative. They'll put it in that classification because it applies to them and they don't want to hear it. Look, the more humility you have and the more that you fucking call yourself out and hold yourself accountable here, and especially if you're on these platforms, you do it and live it, the less value it loses. People want to weaponize these things against you. And most of you give them exactly the fucking ammunition to do that. Set yourselves up. People always, if you know me, you know how strong my intuition is. My ability to read the room and read people. There's a lot of things I'm not confident about, and I have no insecurity about that. But there are some things I'm confident about, and this is one of them. You'd have to know me to know how powerful it is. Here's the thing about it. I always tell people when they ask me, how did you know? How would you link that together? People tell it. There's a list of shit. I'll go over it. I've went over it before. I'll go over it again later. Y'all tell on themselves. People start telling on themselves and letting you know ahead of time. And again, it's you're never the same once you're really awake. Not to be confused with woke. Some people think it's the same. It's not to me. When you're this hyper aware, you can't turn it off anymore. That's why you have to limit your time with people in certain social settings. You pick up on fucking everything. Are we ever wrong? People like us, a small percentage of us? Sure we are. No one's ever right about anything. But it's rare. It's rare. And usually when I hear that, that makes me trust them less because they already know that I'm on to them, whatever it is. And sometimes people do this shady shit and they have malicious intent, and it's something that sometimes they don't even want nothing. They just don't want you to be that. Anyway, we'll go on with the list. We show ourselves anytime that there's any kind of disaster or there's even close to being one. We see people, I always use this example. Most people do everything online now, like I do too. Thanksgiving, you give thanks. And on Black Friday, y'all ready to kill each other, especially before everything went digital, ready to kill each other over getting your, I was talking to this in HEB, the greatest grocery store in Texas. That Friday, I do my dog food and champagne and a few other things. I try to do it like Friday's my day because sometimes I have that day to do it, and I try to beat the weekend crowd. Then I usually do it again on Wednesday if I have the money. As I've mentioned, I have a lot of fur kids. I have a lot of dogs. A 50-pound bag lasts me about 5 days. That's it. Sometimes a little longer. And I need about 6 bags a month. That's my responsibility. I can't buy 6 bags at one time. Even if I can't afford it, sometimes I can. If I got other things to get while I'm in there, orange juice, milk, snacks, chips, I can't do it with 6 bags of dog. If I can't even do that with 2 baskets, maybe 2 baskets. Usually buy 2 at a time. That way I can hit the store about every 5 to 10 days. We show our asses. And I go back to this. If we learned one fucking thing during COVID, it didn't teach us a motherfucking thing except how soft, how weak, how frail, how comfortable, how much of fucking snowflakes we really are. Now, overall, Texans are pretty tough. No doubt. I love being a Texan. I love being American. But then again, like I said, I haven't lived other places. As a kid, I lived in Oklahoma and California and Colorado, but I don't remember it. I haven't lived in other countries. Would it make me hate my country? Fuck no. But could I live somewhere else? Do I want to live somewhere else? Sure. But I'm not one of these people saying I want to get out of the U.S. I mean, I'd love to fucking live abroad. I want to live in Florida. I'd probably like to live in Costa Rica, maybe part of the year. I'd probably like to stay about 3 months in Greece. I could see myself staying in the Bahamas for a month. I mean, whatever it is, I can't, again, we speak on shit we haven't done. That's why I don't listen to people. It's different if you've lived there. And then you need to gather enough information, enough data from more than one person on anything to make an analysis. And what I realized we done as a Generation X, is we listened to the boomers. Not that they were wrong about everything. Different time. And they fed us a lot of information that don't apply now. That's not, that's I feel like is bullshit. And we have to unlearn a lot of that. I'm not going to get into that today. I was originally going to do that podcast today until I was just seeing what we do again. COVID taught us how weak we were. It exposed everything. Wherever you're at on the vaccine, politics, whatever, that's fine. That is your right. That's your choice. Again, I don't base my respect level on anybody's salary, what they do, where they live, what color they are, what sexual preference they are, what political party. This is where I'm at. You have to know it's not left or right. It's not Democrat or Republican anymore. If you still think that, you really are fucking not paying attention. I'll touch base on religion at times because a lot of religious people it doesn't matter how much you're respectful enough to them. Again, I used to be involved in it. Again, God-believing man, my faith is stronger than ever because I won't step foot in a church unless it's for a funeral or a wedding. Hard to hear, hard to swallow. Go judge that. Don't preach scripture to me. And again, unless you want me to unravel you, and I won't even get mad. You can preach it in general if you're preaching to someone else. If you're putting it on your Facebook page, your social, that is right. That is your right. Don't preach it to me specifically, individual. I don't need it and I don't want it. My faith is stronger than it's ever been. And because, for me, that's come with the abandonment of organized religion. I don't need congregations. I don't like talk. I don't need to be around counseling. I don't need around people that tell you to talk about your feelings, all this shit. Not that you don't need to talk to someone. You'll realize it's hard to explain and we need to dive deeper into it. The shit you're around and the shit people telling you need to be around that all the time is making you weaker. And it's making you more of a sheep. That's my perspective. And the only thing is I'm not judging anyone else. I'm saying, again, in all fairness, I'm speaking for me. It made me stronger. It made me more powerful. It made me more knowledgeable. It made me more educated. And it just made my faith strengthen. I got so much more mental strength than I did being around any masses. Y'all won't get it until you live it. My stance on the vaccine and all that shit is still the same. Me and all my family, that ain't never going to happen. As a matter of fact, I told someone the other day, besides it hurting fucking small businesses and affecting the economy so bad, and the economy still ain't worth the fuck, I don't know in our lifetime if it ever recovers. You think with us Generation X, wherever you're at in Gen X? What's the oldest X, Generation X? The oldest one's turned 60 and 25. Oldest X, Generation X are 60. I'm in the mid. We're right over 50. And the youngest were born in 80, so turned 46 this year. 46 to about 61 now. I think the oldest Xers were born in 65. A lot of us, if we went to school together, we're in that 73 to 77 range, somewhere in there. Most of us, give or take. Used to seem like 4 or 5 years was a lot when we were in school. Now we kind of all run it together. Maybe some of us were freshmen, other people were seniors. You know, some people getting out of school, some people coming into high school, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. The older Xers probably got about, depending on when they retire, if they can. Again, let me go back to that again. We're told that we need all this money in retirement. It depends on how you live your life. You can live off a lot less money in your life right now if you understand the difference between a need versus a want. But we get accustomed to a lifestyle. So that's what we do when we go into the stores. We don't get necessities. We get what we want, and we get what everybody fucking wants in the house. That's what the fuck we do. But they can't do without the things that they love. They got to have this kind of coffee, this kind of cereal. They got to have this kind of snacks or whatever it is. And we make sure they fucking get it. And you know what? Instead of, again, I say this every fucking time it happens. Back during Hurricane Harvey, there wasn't a fuel shortage. There was not. They couldn't get it here fast enough. Same thing if you're old enough, for those of us our age who are Xers, I'm speaking for our generation, we remember 9/11. That was about half of our life. Most of us were about the ages of 20 to 27, somewhere in there. 20 to 30. I was about 25, 26. Look what we did. Every time that we just got jabbed a little bit, every time, let's test them. We failed, and we failed miserably. And I always ask people, when some real shit goes down, if we see it in our lifetime, we get invaded, or the fucking apocalypse at any level happens, what the fuck you think is going to happen? You think the person with the most money wins? I used to think that. I don't think so. That's the people they're usually going to come after. We seen it in these little small towns during COVID. We thought everybody's we stick together. We're community. We're like family. We're like family until shit really gets fucking sideways, huh? Start running out of food. Start running out of water. You got kids to feed, grandkids to feed. You need to feed yourself. Then hey, I want your shit. We've been neighbors for 10, 20, 30 years, but it don't matter. You know it's true. Again, we think we're the exception to the rule. We think that's happening in all the metropolitan cities, all the cities where they have no heart, no soul. All you have to do is put us through a little bit of test, a little bit of fucking discomfort. Again, I said it over and over. I started saying it during COVID. We have luxuries and necessities confused. We all do it. That's when you don't understand the difference between a need versus a want, then you don't understand the difference between a luxury and a necessity. You don't have to live in the house you do, you choose to. You don't have to drive the car you do, you choose to, even if you can afford it. You don't have to use the credit cards you do, you choose to. You don't have to get your kid that car, you could get them that car. But you say they deserve it, right? Every family says that, they deserve it. Do y'all ever say anybody deserves it for the other way? Like, fuck no, they don't deserve it. No matter what your relationship, no matter how much you love them. Do you ever say that? Even when you know they don't. Like I was telling that lady the other day, I go, same like I said when I referenced Thanksgiving and Black Friday, I said, probably getting our kids and our family a bunch of shit we know they don't deserve. We tell ourselves, she goes, I know that's so true. I said, we tell ourselves. We might say we're not going to do it all year, and then come the holidays, but we do it. We don't go get what we need. We go get what we want. And fuck what everybody else needs. Again, just like the fuel shortages every time. If you go do what you're supposed to, go get your normal shit, then there's not a shortage of anything. I don't give a fuck how much some of you say you don't do it. You know you fucking do it. I went and got my same shit I got. I'm almost out of it now. I went and got my same shit I got on that Friday. Could I have bought for a month? No, I couldn't. I'm not ashamed of that. We're greedy. We're entitled. Not just the young people. We're not selfless. We're selfish. When we care more about popularity. We care more about likes. We care more about attention. We care more about promotions. We care more about getting invited, being part of the clique, while other people think of us than having great character and being a fucking solid fucking person. Not just pretending on social media. I told someone the other day, I said, fuck, we can go back to COVID. Like, what? I said, go back to COVID. Sucked for small business, sucked for a lot of shit. It was a test run, and we failed. We failed miserably. Again, nothing to do with the vaccine. You have to know that every time something like this has happened, we've exposed how weak we are. Other people fucking laugh at us. They fucking should. We should be a fucking punchline. Maybe again, I don't want to get into politics. That's all they fucking talk about on the news and talk shows. Wherever you stand on, that's where you stand. Doesn't make my respect level make a difference for you on anything. A lot of my white constituents, my age constituents and friends, different categories. They don't think that way. I don't make a fuck. I see what some people I care about and respect post all the time. I don't agree with a lot of it on both sides. I just keep scrolling because it's not an attack on me. It's not an attack on me. I'm not those people. I'm not. I don't trust any of them. You shouldn't. We shouldn't in a long time. See, when I was talking about everything that controls y'all have, the more shit you have, and the more your luxuries and your stuff and your credit and your material things, you have fucking owners. And the more owners you have, the more likely you're going to abide by the rules and you're going to fucking comply. That's why they don't like us. Call us that we don't have enough. Our ambition and our drive and our goals and our zeal and what we want to accomplish in life has nothing to do with those things. And people hate it because we may not have a lot, but we don't live under those standards anymore. And we don't attach things materialistically and stuff and toys. And we don't have much, again, by most society standards, but when you live debt-free, you have a little bit more say. So it doesn't mean that we're going to be able to live rich in retirement. But here's the thing. I've adjusted my life to living like this so long. I can live like this in retirement. I told my family the other day, I've accepted that right now in my life, not that I can't, that I don't think I'll ever purchase a material thing again. By me saying that, I mean a big ticket item. I'll have to get a few more vehicles in my life. Wish I didn't when I need them. I'm not mechanically inclined. It's not a skill I have. It's not a skill I care about. So I do the minimum when it needs to be done. I hope I can drive all of them, at least the newest vehicle I have. What I'm sitting in right now is almost 10 years old. I think we've had it for 7. 9 years old, we've had it for 7. We bought it 2 years old. It's the newest one we have. Hope I get 3 to 5 more years out of it. When I say big ticket purchases, whether I have it or not. And then people ask shit like this. Well, if you just hit the lottery or you hit a lick, you wouldn't get the house you wanted. Well, of course. But no matter how much it is, you would still see it. It would be very practical. Now for us, I would rather have 2 or 3 places I could stay at in beach areas and coastal areas. And so my family could stay at too, instead of one fucking place to show people, look what I did. Who gives a fuck? The more shit you have, and again, there's people out there that don't have to make payments. The more shit you have, the less control you have. Y'all understand that? And it bothers people because they don't have control over us. Yeah, we still need to earn a living working for other people, which sucks. Doesn't matter how much you like what you do, it still sucks. Now, again, because I understand what I understand now. Wish I'd understand it sooner. Is it too late? No, it ain't too late. But it's more difficult. It is. Some of you young people got so many more advantages. You got so many more advantages. You can do shit so much sooner. Doesn't even mean people have to do it for you. You shave off what took some of us 30 years to do, you can do in 10. Damn, I'm jealous of that. Not jealous of what you have. Jealous of the opportunity. The framework. The fucking pillars. Shit. You can shave that time in half. Some people can, Everything's instantly accessible. We've gotten too spoiled, too soft, and we've done it to both of the last generations. Let me remind us again. I got kids, Gen Z and millennials. Some of you do too. We got, those of us that started young, we got grandkids. Learn the different generations, exactly what they are. Boomers most likely didn't raise any of them. They raised us. We raised them. One of the last toughest generation to exist is us. Now, let me tell you this. Speaking personally, we see a lot of stuff out there about Gen X. It's all fucking true. Don't think there wasn't any of us in Gen X that wasn't fucking soft and fluffy and fucking entitled and privileged and soft as a motherfucker and spoiled. Even if they weren't financially wealthy. I know a fucking bunch of them. And you can see it in their life today. I knew a bunch of them I grew up with. Don't think that there's been those people in every generation, every community, every class. But so I still have some of them on social media and they get on there and talk like they fucking grew up school of hard knocks and fucking did without, and they fucking didn't. You don't have to apologize for that. But you are who you are because of those things, because you had to. You can't have, This is hard to hear. You may not understand this. You can't have strong, solid character if you've been fucking privileged and fucking shielded and sheltered and taken care of your whole life. Even if you haven't in the last 20 years, if somebody quit doing all that for you 20 years ago, that still made you 30. You cannot have strong character if you've had everything done for you. Look at most inherited. Look at most kids or people that got an inheritance and have to do shit. Look at them. Most. We're not talking about the exceptions to the rule. Most. Look at them. They had everything they wanted. You're not supposed to get everything you want in this fucking life. You're not even supposed to get half of it. We're not even obligated to have our needs. Needs versus wants. Necessities versus luxuries. We've got, all of us, we've got luxuries confused with necessities. I said a while back, I go back to COVID. Besides wearing that bitch ass mask, I wore it to get in and out of places. So they leave me the fuck alone because I'll get hung up arguing with them. I will. I ain't angry. It's my standards. Yeah. Sometimes it's not the act, just like with people. Heavy on the principle. Sometimes you got to be, again, people say, it's petty. No, it's petty because you're calling it petty because I didn't fucking let it go. I'll take it too far. I'll take it on anything. I'll take it too far. You know why? Because you motherfuckers won't. Somebody has to. In history, most of the people that took it too far, they're not here no more. You got to take it too far because most motherfuckers do too little. That's the truth. Don't all the time. But I'll stand up for wherever it is anytime. No matter the environment, no matter the climate, no matter the title, position, authority, I'm around. Pick and choose your battles. I chose to go to war. That's what I chose. A long time ago. And I'm okay with that. I accept that. Well, besides that bitch ass mask we had to wear, that 6 to 18 month during COVID, I was fucking thriving. I'd say in the last 10 years, unfortunately, probably the best financial time we ever had as a family. Made more progress, fitness, the house, financially than we ever had. It ain't been like that since. It's been nothing but a fucking struggle and 2-3 steps back, 1 step forward. We weren't debt free then. We are now. Y'all know what we're talking about. Anybody that has basic economic, financial self-education literacy, you understand. You understand the math doesn't math. But for me, training alone, the way I train, the things I do, all my commitments and obligations and things that are important to me, I was fucking thriving. It's basically the same fucking thing I do now, except wearing a fucking mask. There ain't no fucking different in my life, except I was in better shape not better shape physically. We were in better shape financially and we were making more progress. Well, I had more time and had a little bit more money. Yeah, working class stiff. Yeah. Maybe I won't be one day, but if I end up spending my whole life being there, I'll never quit. I've denounced hustle and grind culture. I'm saying that it ain't gonna allow me to quit enjoying my life, and my purpose my purpose and goals don't change. The path to get there, that's changed now, because now I don't give a fuck what we got to do, as long as I ain't got to be miserable and unhappy to do it. I'm not willing to there'd be a time I'd sacrifice 2 or 3 fucking years straight to get where we're at, to get where I want us to be, and I've thought about that. Unfortunately, I burned myself out on some things when I was younger. And there's so much stuff that I say I think that people agree with. I think you just don't think you should say it. You might think it, because once you speak it out loud, again, you speak it into existence. We hate to reflect back on the time we've wasted. We hate to think that the people that told us, even if some did tell us intentionally wrong. Some of them didn't. It was just the tools and the knowledge they had at the time. But it's our obligation, once we have the tools and the knowledge, to change it. Once we have this is why some people don't want to know, and why they call it ignorance is bliss. Some people don't want to know. It's particularly common among our parents' age, because most of us do not have grandparents at our age. If you're over 45 or 50, most likely it is out. There are some, and they're blessed, I guess. But most people our age don't have grandparents left. You're lucky if you have a parent left. We don't want to think about the people that possibly told us wrong. Or they told us what applied to them. There's a lot of shit. I've been talking about that lately. I want to do a whole video on what the fuck I think is overrated. I know I've touched base on a lot of these things over the years. You never know when someone that hasn't heard it. And we need to talk about it more. We need to speak it. We need to tell the truth. It's like anything like generational curses or generational change. What good is it going to do now? You want it to change for the next generation? Do you really want to make change with them? Then you need to have the uncomfortable conversations, because they're not going to get more comfortable as time goes by. And maybe nothing changes, all to protect a way of thinking, a mentality. I'm not respecting people more because of that. I think that we're sitting duck as a society. Y'all don't? Look at what we fight over. Stanley Cups, fucking Starbucks, fucking tissue paper, toilet paper, and fucking paper towels. Tell us that we're going to not have instant access for less than a week. It's kind of like at the holidays. I don't think people are nicer. I think they're more fucking rude, asshole, and fucking cunts. Y'all know it. It's hard to hear. They're not. Just like on a daily basis, people aren't cool on the road most of the time. So it's like when I was in the other day, this lady said, "You're so nice." I said, to some people, I'm not. But when I'm in those situations, I try to be extra nice because I know me. I'm not protecting them from them. I'm protecting them from me. Because I know what I'm going to tolerate and what I'm not, and that won't fucking change either. But just going in there pissed off, man, it's fucking comical. As to other countries, anybody who's an ally or an enemy, they got to fucking laugh at us. You know why? Because we want everything for ourselves and our family. And we don't want to leave nothing for nobody else. We don't want to share. We want it all. That's American greed. And that's what we are. We're fucking greedy. I'll holler at y'all later.